How's it going, everybody? So in this video I want to talk a little bit about organic grass-fed meat and animal products versus conventionally raised animal products. So I'm going to be raising quite a few controversial points here, but I'm going to be extremely objective about this based upon my own experience, many other people's experiences, and also the scientific data that is available showing the nutrient content of each and other factors many people don't consider, okay? So for me, I've deeply researched this because there is a whole lot of push for organic and grass-fed animal products in the health community. And then there's also a push for no animal products at all from the vegans and whatnot. Now, if you're vegan, please just go away from this video because this video is not for you, really. Now, if you do eat animal products and you're interested in how to optimize your health in the most efficient way possible, that's what I'm all about here, okay? I just want to help people make the best decisions they possibly can. I want people to grasp the greater good, the bigger picture, okay? So anyway, here we go. Let's get started. So at a baseline, grass-fed organic. What is the difference between grass-fed organic and conventionally raised? Okay, so grass-fed, so just grass-fed beef, for example, or grass-fed milk, grass-fed cheese, pastured eggs, okay? So the main benefit that these things have, just grass-fed, okay, not organic yet, is that, so here's the main benefits, okay? Studies have shown that, especially grass-fed beef, has high amounts, or at least it has noticeable amounts of vitamin K2. That is true, okay, based on the analysis that I've seen, and there's limited data, okay, on the nutrient composition of grass-fed versus organic. There's limited data, but I've seen some, I believe, a couple of studies out of the Netherlands, I believe. It shows that grass-fed animal products are higher in vitamin K2, they are higher in CLA, and they have slightly higher omega-3 fatty acids. Now, the important thing to understand here is the higher omega-3 is, it's true, it has a little bit extra omega-3 compared to conventionally raised, but when we're talking about health outcomes, the amount of omega-3 fatty acids found in grass-fed beef, it's not that significant of an increase, okay? We're not talking like 1 gram of fish oil compared to, you know what I mean? If you take a tablespoon of cod liver oil, you're going to be getting like something like 3 grams of total omega-3 and something like 1 to 2 grams of both EPA and DHA. Now in grass-fed beef, per 3 ounces, I believe, you're only getting like 100 milligrams or so, okay? Compared to conventionally raised beef, it's something like 20 to 40 milligrams. So you're getting half the omega-3 in conventionally raised compared to grass-fed. Okay, and this specifically came from government nutrient analysis, and a really easy tool you can use is nutritiondata.self, I believe is a website. But there's multiple sources that I've found. And it is very hard to find good research on grass-fed. That's why there's such a big controversy around it. But the main takeaway here is the most important thing you need to consider about omega-3 fatty acids. It's not like, oh, this food has more than this one. The difference is very negligible. God damn it. It's very insignificant, okay? You're getting maybe 50 milligrams extra from grass-fed versus conventional, okay? And the important thing to consider is a ratio of omega-3 polyunsaturated fat compared to omega-6 polyunsaturated fat, okay? And so omega-6 is essential, and so is omega-3. But the key here is you want a 1-to-1 ratio of omega-3 to omega-6, and that's at the very most elite ideal, okay? And that's very hard to achieve. That means 15 grams of omega-6 and 15 grams of omega-6 and 15 grams of omega-3. That's the general rule of thumb based on the science, okay? That's a 1-to-1 ratio. But other experts, they give more leeway. They say anything 1 to 4 and better, okay? 1 to 4 ratio, meaning 4 parts omega-6 and 1 part omega-3, or a 1 to 3, 1 to 2, 1 to 1. Okay, I know this math, it might be complicated. But what I'm saying is it's about the ratio of omega-3 to omega-6. And so when it comes to grass-fed animal products, the ratio is not that different. Okay, you have the same amount of omega-6 in grass-fed as you do in conventionally raised beef. Okay, there is the same amount of omega-6. And even further is the fact that beef is not a significant source of omega-6 anyway. Okay, so whether it's grass-fed or conventional, you're only getting something like 300 to 400 milligrams of omega-6 per serving, depending on what nutrient analysis you look at. I believe that was what it was. So, you know, to offset 400 milligrams of omega-6, just take a teaspoon of cod liver oil, and you'll already have the proper omega-3 to omega-6 ratio. Even further is the fact that wild-caught fish, depending on what we're talking about, let's say wild-caught pollock, which is very low in fat, it actually has somewhere around 400 to 800 milligrams of omega-3 and something like 20 milligrams of omega-6 per serving. So it has very high, it has double the amount, of omega-3 compared to the omega-6s found in beef to offset the ratio. Jesus Christ, I'm sorry if this is so complicated. You're probably not understanding. I'm just saying if you eat more wild-caught fish, you can offset the omega-3 ratio. And whether you buy grass-fed or you buy grain-fed beef, the omega-6 you're getting in that beef is still 3 to 6 times higher than the omega-3. So the omega-3s don't matter in the beef. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. The omega-3s are not like, it's not a reason to fucking like kill yourself if you don't consume grass-fed, okay? And I'm just beginning to get into the comparison here. But before I continue any further, I'm going to tell you right now, if you can buy organic, then definitely do. Now, grass-fed is higher in nutrients, is where I'm going with this. This is much higher in beneficial nutrients, and grass-fed organic is much lower in harmful additives and things, harmful compounds, okay? That's what you're going to get out of this. If you want my concrete answer right away before I explain all the mechanisms, if you can afford it, grass-fed organic is fine. But if you can't afford it, especially if you're an athlete, okay, I'm telling you right now, if you have a choice between buying grass-fed organic and buying conventionally raised animal products, okay, if you don't have enough money to buy enough protein, if you choose to eat less protein, if you sacrifice adequate protein for higher quality, you'll feel a lot crappier. And if you're an athlete and you're not eating enough protein, you will be feeling sore. You will be feeling tired. You will feel lethargic. You will feel sad and depressed, okay? What I'm saying is, as long as you get enough protein, and this is adequate amounts. I'm not talking about the daily minimum. I'm talking about optimal adequate amounts for feeling your best and for performing your best in athletics, okay? If you're not getting adequate protein, then the fucking quality doesn't matter, okay? So let's say a 200-pound man needs at least 100 grams per 100 or 200 grams of protein. Okay, a 200-pound man needs 200 grams of protein, and if you have a choice of eating 100 grams of protein from organic grass-fed to save money, or 200 grams of conventionally raised, you will feel significantly better on the 200 grams of protein of conventionally raised. Okay? The reason is not because conventional is better. The reason is because your body needs a certain amount of protein. Okay? And if you're sacrificing protein quantity for protein quality, you will feel crappy. So my suggestion is, if you can comfortably afford grass-fed organic and getting enough protein every day, you can comfortably afford that, then definitely do it, okay? Because there are significant benefits involved, okay? And there's many ways that you can get these things at an affordable price. I just recently got 4 pounds of grass-fed beef for $3 a pound, okay? But it's hard to find those deals. Wild-caught fish is going to be a better option, because you can find pollock, sardines, tuna, stuff like that, at, fresh, frozen, and canned. And it's going to have a much better, it's going to have less, it's not going to have antibiotics, it's not going to have hormones, it might have dioxins and other things, might have a little bit of mercury, but it also has selenium, which counteracts that. But you're going to get a better omega-3 fatty ratio than even grass-fed beef. You're going to get more nutrients, okay, if you look up the nutrition data. Fish is much more nutrient-dense than beef and other things. And the list goes on, okay? And you can do that for $3 to $4 per pound versus grass-fed organic, which, for ground beef is about $6 per pound. And also, I need to tell, there's going to be a lot of fucking people that are going to be freaking out and getting all butthurt because I said you need 1 gram per pound of body weight. Okay, listen, if you're a starving kid in Africa, you would do much, you need at least, 1 gram per half pound of body weight to survive, okay? The thing is, there's a difference between minimum daily intake of protein and optimal daily intake. Optimal daily intake is at least 1 gram per pound of body weight, especially if you're an athlete. If you're an athlete and you're eating less than 1 gram per pound of body weight, you're a fool and you're only hurting yourself. And honestly, maybe some people can get away with it, but I encourage you, if you have not tried yet to eat 1 gram per pound of body weight, if you have not tried that, and you're going to sit there in the comment section and talk down on me for saying that, what's wrong with you? You haven't even tried it yet, okay? Get a food tracking app and track your protein and look for correlations. Try 4 weeks of high protein and 4 weeks of the lower protein and see how you feel. Regardless of caloric intake. I've done my own experiments. That's how I know. And a lot of these people that are going to be commenting, oh, like you don't need 1 gram per pound of body weight. You'll just pee out the protein. First of all, you're wrong. You don't pee out protein. You pee out urea. Second of all, you probably haven't even logged your food. So if you haven't logged your protein intake, how would you know? I guarantee you I've been researching and experimenting with this for much longer than these people. It bugs me. It bugs me, so I have to mention that. God, I'm sorry, you guys. But anyway, adequate protein is number 1. Okay? As long as you're getting adequate protein, you will feel better. Okay? And, just recently I started doing all organic, all grass-fed, and the financial struggle is real. You know what I mean? I can afford it, but at the expense of other things I'd like to be spending my money on. And the thing is, I've tried intermittent fasting. Well, intermittent fasting I can do, but when I limit my protein intake, I feel like crap. No matter what, when I eat lower protein, when I try to eat, 0.7 grams per pound of body weight, I feel more sore. I feel like more lethargic. Eventually I develop mood problems and insomnia. I can't recover from my workouts and I just feel like crap. But as long as I get at least 1 gram per pound of body weight, but the more I eat, the better I feel. I'm recovering every single day, whether even on a low carb diet. When I'm doing keto, the number one reason why people feel like crap on a ketogenic diet is because they undereat protein. That's a very common theme. They think, oh, if I eat too much protein, then I'm gonna get kicked out of ketosis. But the fact is, that's really why people suffer for like 2 months in this so-called keto adaptation phase. Anyway, you guys, so there's much more that I need to talk about when it comes to grass-fed versus organic. But first of all, if you're going to undereat protein just to be able to afford grass-fed organic meat, then just forget it, okay? You're gonna feel a lot better and have better health outcomes buying, meat for half the price and eating adequate amounts, okay? So eat adequate amounts of protein. Now, for those of you who can't afford grass-fed organic, that's what's up. Now, let me dive in further. I've already explained the omega-3 thing doesn't really matter. Well, what would be the benefit? And we're just talking about grass-fed, not even organic yet. So grass-fed has higher CLA, and CLA has been shown to reduce the risk of cancer in rats. It's been shown to possibly reduce your risk of heart disease and reduce inflammation as well, markers of inflammation. Now, how much CLA do you need to consume? Now that is questionable. And how much CLA do you get in grass-fed versus organic? So the CLA content of grass-fed animal products is much more significant. Okay, CLA content in grain-fed is virtually undetectable to an extent, depending on what we're talking about here. So as far as CLA content is concerned, I would say that's a huge benefit here for grass-fed and organic. The other thing is just overall nutrient content. We're talking vitamin B6 and B12. I've seen a couple of sources say that that grass-fed is higher in vitamin B6 and B12, but I need to look further into the data. Vitamin K2 has been shown to reverse arterial calcification in rabbit studies, but I believe they actually use plant-based K2, so I believe it was MK4. So, but regardless, the fact is animal products are higher in vitamin K2, okay? Grass-fed is higher than grain-fed. So that's just the grass-fed. It's just higher in nutrients, okay? But how big of a difference will it make in your everyday life? I think short term, I think you can eat the conventionally raised meat, and if you're eating adequate amounts of protein every day, and you're avoiding inflammatory foods, you're avoiding foods you're intolerant to, foods that cause intestinal gas. A lot of people experience significant side effects from eating grains, like rice and starches and things like that. Some people can get away with it, but as long as you're avoiding the foods that harm you and you're eating enough protein every day, you should feel great, okay? You should feel fine whether your meat is grass-fed or not, okay? And I've done an experiment for weeks. I was trying my best to eat nothing but grass-fed, organic, everything, including vegetables, nothing but organic vegetables. Nothing I ate was conventionally raised. But the thing is, I was trying to, eventually it got expensive, so I was under eating protein to save money, and my performance went down. I was not recovering from workouts. I would do a hardcore leg day, and 4 days later, I'm sore as fuck, and I think, oh, I could still work out. My strength, decreased by up to 30%. Compared to before, when I was eating adequate amounts of protein from conventionally raised meat, I was hitting PRs every single session. So through experimentation, and also the data itself, under-eating protein at the expense of quality is a no-no, okay? So, yeah. Now, as far as how will you feel, short-term, you're not going to notice any difference, okay? And to make it, and so let's start talking about organic now. So as far as organic is concerned, there is a huge benefit long term, okay? So organic animal products, number one, you're going to get all the benefits usually associated with the grass-fed, but not necessarily, because organic can also be grain-fed. But typically the animals are fed a better diet, okay? At least the soil is going to be much healthier because they have to refill the minerals and vitamins and things in the soil in order to keep healthy plants. That's the thing about organic farming, and it's the reason why organic fruits and vegetables are typically higher in nutrients, mainly in frozen. So you might get more nutrients, okay, especially if it's also grass-fed or pastured. But the main thing here is the hormones and antibiotics that are added to the food, okay? If you're buying conventionally raised animal products, usually the antibiotics and the hormones and things are stored in the fat of the animal. So not necessarily the eggs. Eggs, I've read it's much lower. But in the actual chicken, though, the mother stores all of the toxins, you could call them, the hormones and the antibiotics in the fat of the animal. So going organic will reduce your exposure significantly to antibiotics and hormones, okay? And there's a lot of misconceptions on the labeling, too. A lot of labels will tell you, oh, there's no antibiotics, no hormones. But they'll use deceptive wording. Like I saw chicken, it said no growth promoting antibiotics added. What the fuck? Antibiotics? I know sometimes they have to use antibiotics because they're feeding the animal you know, unhealthy things to make it grow as fast as possible, but antibiotics are purely a intervention used to treat a sick animal. Antibiotics have nothing to do with growth promotants. So when you got to be careful, because I saw a chicken that said no growth promoting antibiotics added. Look, guy, that's not what antibiotics are for. So the animal could be pumped full of antibiotics and then they could put no growth promoting antibiotics added and get away with it, because antibiotics are not used to promote growth. They're used antibiotic, anti-life, antibacteria. Okay, to kill bacteria, to kill sickness, to treat sickness, not to promote growth. Okay, and this is just one of many deceptive tactics they'll be using. Okay, so you'll feel safe. Okay, you know, and cage-free and stuff like that. Also, there's many caveats. Okay, free range is typically going to have a barn door open, or they'll at least be able to roam around in a barn. But you want to. So if you're looking for the best quality, you want to see guarantees that the animals were able to freely roam around pasture, or you know they have access to outdoors, or some brands like Organic Valley actually list the milligrams of CLA and vitamin K2 on their products. So as far as grass-fed butter, Kerrygold actually is going through a lawsuit now because apparently their cows are not grass-fed year-round. So you might actually be getting grain-fed butter from Kerrygold if you get it at the wrong time. Whereas Organic Valley, they specifically say on their grass-fed animal products, where they actually call them like pasture butter or grass milk, they call it, 100% grass-fed, they actually list the amount of CLA and nutrients on it and omega-3, so that you know if they're lying, they will get sued. Okay, so that's much more credible than, you know, just an animal product that calls itself grass-fed or calls itself, you know, pastured or something. Okay, you want the most specific labeling as possible. And organic, it has that benefit. Organic is by law required to not use any banned antibiotics, hormones, etc., etc. So that is the main thing. If you're gonna spend extra money, you need certifications, okay? But anyway, if you choose to go the cheaper route and you are concerned about antibiotics and hormones in your food, the best thing you can do is either buy leaner cuts or drain off the fat. Because from what I've seen, and there's very limited evidence for this, but the evidence I have seen has pointed towards the hormones and the antibiotics and the other toxins, they call it, are actually stored in the fat of the animal. And so if you just buy the leanest cut possible, you'll be avoiding the hormones and the antibiotics to a large extent, okay? And you know, for those of you on a low-carb diet, you might want to add some healthier fats back in, whether that's from organic butter or whether that's from, you know, avocado, or even better would be olive oil, you know, preferably single origin, first cold pressed, certified. Anyway, so yeah, organic is going to be better if you can afford it comfortably, but really, if you feel super stressed and you feel financially crumbled and you just feel like, you know, financial stress trying to be perfect with your nutrition, don't even worry about food quality, because cortisol, adrenaline, and stress has much worse health consequences than any kind of like negative effect of conventionally raised meat, okay? You know, financial stress is going to reduce your productivity in life. It's going to reduce your motivation, reduce your willpower. It's going to make life much harder for you, and it's going to stress you out. It's going to take away energy that you could be spending on enjoying your relationships, on pursuing your goals, and really, you know, building enough financial income to really buy organic eventually. So really, the stress is not worth it, okay? If you're stressing over your nutrition, fuck that. Don't buy organic, okay? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Even the most important thing is that is the type of foods you're eating. Are you eating foods that cause bloating, teeth decay, blood sugar imbalances, or are you eating foods that build your body? Foods that provide enough nutrients for you to survive, okay? And let me tell you something. The biggest eye-opener for me was, you know, and again, if you're closed-minded and you're not into, like, you know, what matters, the bigger picture, okay, then again, click off this fucking video. Because what I'm about to tell you is going to trigger closed-minded, immature people who don't have an appreciation for reality, don't have an appreciation for what works. Here's the thing, okay? There is a Facebook group. It's called the World Carnivore Tribe, okay? And I've been following that for like 6 months. And I see real people like that have a whole profile and their whole life story on their profile. I see new people every single day who talk about reversing chronic disease. They talk about feeling better than ever I've felt in life, posting their transformations. They're surviving on nothing but meat alone, doing this carnivore diet thing, which I don't do anymore. Okay, but they're surviving on meat alone and reversing all sorts of chronic diseases, and their blood work is better than vegans and better than traditional keto dieters, which I follow mainly a keto diet, high in vegetables and high in meat and fat, okay? But they're eating nothing but meat, okay? And they're experiencing amazing results. And they're surviving, and there's people who have been doing it for two to 3 years on that group, and there's people that in this world who have been doing it for 10 years. Like this guy, I forgot the guy's name. It's like Corey Anderson or something, and he has a wife named like Charlene or something, and they've been doing this for over 10 years, and they're fine. And many people say they look like they reversed aging. They're something like 50-something years old. They've been doing it since their 30s, and you know, they're in the best shape of their life, and all they eat is ribeyes, okay? My point is, and many of these people on the carnivore diet group or whatever, they're eating conventionally raised meat, and they're experiencing all these significant health benefits, reversing gout, okay? Something that mainstream health claims is caused by excessive meat consumption. So what I'm telling you guys is conventional versus organic, okay, it's not the end of the world, okay? Don't stress about it. If you can't buy organic, don't worry about it. But I listed the main differences here. And as far as the fatty acid content, you know, the main differences here are, well, the main differences is more about organic, you know, the hormones and antibiotics that are unconventionally raised, and the fact that grass-fed might have more vitamin K2 and more CLA. Either grain-fed or grass-fed, you're going to want to supplement with omega-3s or eat wild-caught fish no matter what, because a polyunsaturated omega-6 ratio is pretty much the same, grass-fed and organic. So this whole more omega-3s thing, it's not that big of a deal. What's really significant though is the hormones and the antibiotics in conventionally raised meat, okay? So listen, live within your means and you will feel amazing, okay? Be more of a minimalist and only worry about the things that really matter, okay? Like, don't be someone who's nitpicking the bullshit. You know, like, oh, you said you need more protein than blah, blah, blah. You don't need that much protein, blah, 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 you fucking quack. Bro, the main idea, the main points here, guys, you know, focus on that. Don't be a little troll, like, you know, don't be a troll in life. Don't be nitpicking yourself, like, oh my God, I don't have enough money to, like, buy organic. Like, chill out, okay? Because it doesn't matter that much. Again, people on the World Carnivore Tribe eating conventional meat for 2 years experience no fucking side effects and nothing but health benefits as long as they remove the foods that hurt them. And by the way, not everybody needs to remove these foods. It's just some people, they have a lot of food intolerances and they experience amazing results just eating meat. Some people can eat rice and beans and shit like that. I can't. I could eat jasmine rice, but I notice when I'm in a ketogenic state, I turn into Superman. Okay? And as long as I eat enough protein, I feel amazing no matter what diet I'm on. Well, but if I'm keto, at least I don't have mood swings and I can sleep without supplements. Surprisingly enough, when I eat carbs, I can't sleep without supplements, and I have weird mood swings and I'm more stressed. Anyway, you guys, all of this is pretty reasonable if you ask me. So I really hope this has helped some people, man, because I know how stressful it can be when you hear all these people say, oh, you gotta buy organic, you gotta buy grass-fed, or you're gonna die from the hormones and shit. Look, like I was saying, if you're really concerned, drain the fat. Just eat leaner animal products. And for your butter, make sure your butter is organic. Make sure that your animal fat products are organic, you know? Organic butter, man. I can get local organic butter from H-E-B, because I live in Texas, for $4 a pound, guys. Compare that to Organic Valley, which is like $7 or $8 a pound, depending on where you buy it from. I can get organic butter half the price, okay, if I buy a certain brand, okay? So you need to shop around. Conventionally raised butter is literally like, it's like $3 a pound for conventionally raised butter. Organic is about $1 to 2 pounds more, or sorry, $1 to $2 more. So buy organic butter. Don't skimp on that. If you're going to eat animal fat, you should probably buy organic, okay? But either way, you're not going to notice any short-term, you know, negative effects. Now listen, the thing is, the long-term effects of consuming conventionally raised meat, you know, you might develop some kind of problem. It's not going to be heart disease, though. That has more to do with the omega-3 to omega-6 ratio and the amount of inflammatory foods you eat, okay? As long as you eat more omega-3s, and that goes for grass-fed and conventionally raised. They both have the same amount of omega-6s, so it still causes inflammation unless you balance it out with enough omega-3s. So yeah, goddamn, I'm just going all over the place. So I hope that that's helped. If you have any questions, post them down below. If you need me to clarify and make things simple to understand, let me know. Damn, I've been talking so fast because there's so much to talk about, and I feel like most people are not going to spend 35 minutes of their life listening to some ginger-beard, bald-headed motherfucker talk about all this stuff. You know what I mean? It's easier for people just to feel like, oh, it's bullshit, organic is bullshit, or for people to feel like, oh, organic is the most important thing ever. So yeah, leave your questions, comments down below. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your input, and I'll talk to y'all in the next video.